Yo, what is up, everybody? Let's go back again. Another horror story for you guys. This one is titled Friend, written by Skeleton Girl 95. Remember to use the links in the description, show love to the author, like, comment, and subscribe. Chapter 1. Her parents watched her as she sat in the corner and play with her friend. They found it cute how she made an imaginary friend. They continued to watch her playing as she picked up her teapot. "You like some more tea, friend?" she asked the air. He let out a giggle before pouring tea to the cup. Her mother smiled at her before walking towards her, bending down to be at eye level with her youngest daughter. "Mimi, honey, who's your friend?" Her daughter stopped looking at the empty spot in front of her before bringing her attention to her mother. "This is friend," she tells her happily. Her mother looked at the spot her daughter was pointing. She looked back at her child. I know it's your friend. I asked what their name was." "Oh, well, Mommy, his name is Friend," he tells her. Her mother raised an eyebrow at that answer. She knew kids called their imaginary friends all kinds of names, but this seemed different. Just Friend? She asked her the small child, and her daughter nodded. "Uh-huh. He told me his real name, but he said I should just call him Friend." "And what is his real name?" She watched as her daughter shook her head. "Nope, can't tell you," was all Mimi said. "Why?" "Uh-huh. Okay. Yeah, I understand," he says to the air before looking at her mother. "He said that you don't need to know, and if you ask again, something's gonna happen." Her mother's eyes go wide with shock as she stands up fast, still looking at the empty spot. She starts leaving, but as she goes, she hears her daughter speaking again. "I wasn't very nice, friend." Something wasn't right. She decided she was going to find out more about her daughter's friend. That night, she tucked her daughter in her bed. She figured she'd try and get more information. "So, Mimi, why don't you tell me more about your friend?" "Like what, Mommy?" She asked sleepy, her mother, though, about what to ask. Mimi was only 6 after all. "Alright, well, how about where did your friend come from?" "That's easy, Mommy. He used to live here a long time ago." That didn't make any sense. This house was just built about a year before they moved in. So I had to confirm. In this house?" "No, not this house, but something else. Can't remember what he said, but he said he had fun with all his friends here. But then something bad happened. They were all gone." Her mother sits on the edge of the bed, thinking over everything she said. She began to stand. Something flew past her head, hitting the wall behind her. She looked down to see one of Mimi's dolls without its head. She turned around slowly, worried what was behind her. But when she looked, nothing was there. Whoever or whatever friend was here, he sure didn't want her to know anything about him. And that thought alone scared her more than she thought it would. She left her daughter's room and went into her own room. She crawled into bed next to her husband. She could hear him quietly snoring. She closed her eyes and drifted off to sleep. In the middle of the night, she felt something on top of her. and began to wake up. When she opened her eyes, she'd seen a man staring back at her. She tried to scream, but he covered her mouth. The moonlight lit up the room, and she could see the man better. Her eyes went wide in fear. This, whatever it was not a man. Its eyes were black. Its hair was also black, and it was long. You could see it went down its back. Its face wore a twisted expression, and its nails were long and sharp. You could feel them cutting into her cheek as it covered her mouth. It smiled sinisterly at her before bringing a finger to its lips, telling her to be quiet. She nodded at it, hoping that it would let her go. She was relieved when it did in fact let go. Now, stop asking questions. Then he let out a gasp. This was Friend. Friend? He whispers, tilted his friend and tilted his head to the side, before smiling, showing her sharp-looking teeth. He pointed a long nail at her and said, "No more," before disappearing. He let out a loud gasp before sitting up in her bed, breathing heavily. She looked around frantically for Friend. "It was just a dream," she says to herself quietly. She lays back down as she runs her hands down her face. She freezes when she feels the cut on her cheek. She lays there thinking, if it wasn't a dream and that thing was Friend, if he could do that, what else was he capable of doing? Now, ladies and gentlemen, the end of chapter 1.